Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome in Jesse Montano, Meghan Angley, back first intermission. Avs Red Wings. Did you lose me? There we go. Sorry about that. We're back. Avs Red Wings first intermission. Jesse Montano, Meghan Angley, Guerilla Sports. Much better. Much better, Megan. Avs get off to a pretty decent start there. Val Nichushkin is able to give them a lead. And I thought Alexander Georgiev was outstanding. What do you think?
I pretty much agree. I think it was a significant period. They needed to reset from just about everything in that Carolina game. And this feels sustainable. Feels like they can go out and repeat this for the rest of this contest without overexerting themselves and putting themselves in a position that's going to lead to a difficult back-to-back with their game against New Jersey tomorrow. They're doing a lot of the right things, and it rewards them. They're possessing the puck more in the offensive zone, some more extended shifts, some more successful entries, and the whole of the forward group already seeing dividends in Ross Colton's return. It does feel a little bit more balanced. The top line analytically coming out of the first period doesn't look great, but I actually thought that in talking about some of those extended shifts in the ozone, the top line is who springs to mind a little bit there. But Val Nichushkin, a huge player in that period. Great to see Ross Colton also not super sheltered in his minutes and coming back. And looks like he's getting adjusted pretty well. I love the Keaton Middleton shout out. There was a funny moment on the broadcast where there was a stoppage in play at the net front and I think it was Mott gets bulldozed and the announcers are trying to figure out who did it. They're like Mikko Rantanen. And then you just hear them giggle when they realize who did it. Because like, Fork Founded Kitchen, it's Keaton Middleton. That is unsurprising. But I do think this is an interesting game to have him draw in. You see the physicality on that third pairing. Some mistakes coming from it as well, but I'm not going to key in on that too much. Where I am a little bit unsure how to talk about is Georgiev. He comes up with big saves. I have a couple of notes here on some big saves, but I actually was a little nervous with his start. He was getting pieces of pucks that he didn't seem to see, and that worried me a little bit. What I do like is that by the end of this period, it's a lot more intentional. It seems like he's tracking the puck better, but I did have some nerves at the start of this.
Interesting. So, all right, I want to get into Georgiev, but you said something there. You used the word energy a couple times, and you also mentioned Ross Colton. He was someone that I made a note. I thought he really helped bring the overall energy level up, particularly for Casey Middlestat, who I'm going to stop short of saying it was a really good period for Casey Middlestat, but I thought that was his best period we've seen in the last few games. He looked engaged. The energy looked up a little bit, and he gets a secondary assist. And I know it's a kind of a throwaway point, but you think maybe that can be something that can help someone like Casey Middlestat get going. All right, I want to talk about Georgiev because he looks to me, I get what you're saying. Like he looks a little jittery at moments, but I actually think he kind of looks twitchy tonight. And I think that's a good thing for him. Normally when I say that about a goalie, it's not good, but he's such an athlete. He's kind of like Semyon Varlamov. He's such an athletic, mobile goalie that when I think you see him buzzing a little bit, it's a good thing. Two big saves, I thought, from Georgiev to keep it 0-0. The first one was a short side try that he kind of stayed big. Same shot that beat him about a week ago, and he was able to pinch it under his arm. He got that one covered, got the play stopped. And the next one was a backdoor play. There's a nice save, kicked the rebound out, but kept it 0-0 and gave the Avs a chance to get that lead. Were there any moments in particular that come to mind for you about with Georgie that you just didn't love?
I actually didn't write down the moments I didn't love, but they
Yeah.
were interestingly saves. It's just hitting his body and his face is completely looking away from the puck. So it's clear to me that he's just lucky. But you know what? I'm going to give him credit because I've given Justus Adrinen credit for this in the past. Good positioning is
Yep.
still good goaltending. And
Yep.
so I was nervous that he obviously didn't see the puck in some of these instances, but his body and his positioning was where it needed to be. I think I have similar notes too, and important saves that he came up with kind of shortly after the Nichushkin goal, a DeBrincat chance in close, stopped by Georgiev. That DeHaan broken play turnover, Georgiev stops that. And then what I like is it's clear that Detroit watched film on Georgiev.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they are trying for the backdoor play a little bit now. And Georgiev, for the most part, has come up with it very intentionally. And so I think this is something that he very similarly has learned about himself in recent mistakes and is trying to eliminate as a vulnerability. And going into then that 4v4, just before it, there's a Mo Seider odd man rush. Georgiev stops that opportunity.
Really nice passing play, by the way.
Oh, excellent. And then the 4v4, Tarasenko, right at the start of that, also has another chance. And that's where I felt Georgiev was locked into this period. I felt he was so much more intentional in what he was doing. So I don't mean for this to sound like a criticism of him. I think that Detroit has his number, so he does need to continue to be locked in.
Well, and I think it's an interesting point about keying in on them. You know, clearly they've watched some tape on Georgiev because there were a couple moments where it's like, yep, that's a shot that beat him a week ago. Yep, that's a play that got to him, 2 nights or, whatever it may be. So no, I definitely agree with you. I had all those same ones written down. He definitely seemed more settled in. The Mo Seider, walking right down Main Street, comes out, is aggressive, gets on it. I think that's a really good period for Alexander Georgiev, given that Scott Wedgwood has turned in one very good performance and then one performance that you'd expect out of your backup. He gave you what you wanted him to give you. I think this needs to be a strong game from Alexander Georgiev needs to start having a lot of strong games, but tonight in particular, I think it's important for him to have a good night. And I think he's off to a decent start with that. Let's talk about that Val Nichushkin goal. Megan, I've just got written down here in my notes, Val is a handful. Like, he takes that shot, the puck comes back to him. You can't take it off of him. And he's got sticks and bodies and all kinds of things in front of him. He finds a way to get it through. I sent out the tweet. There's even a chance that we undersell how good and how important Val Nichushkin is for this group.
It's his 6th goal back now in just 11 games, I want to say.
Yep. This is his 11th game. Yep.
Take him very long to shake some of that rust off. And he escapes the first period with a team high 3 shots on net, an additional attempt block. But you see how he is a handful because those pucks are getting through to the net front. There's a lot of things I liked about Val Nichushkin's period. I think he did bring energy to that second line. I think Ross Colton did too, because I look at this Nichushkin goal and right at the crease, ready for the rebound on that Val Nichushkin shot, the one that he recovers off his own block shot, which was just such great awareness from him, skates it to the top of the slot. It's Ross Colton, planted at the crease, ready for that rebound. I love to see that kind of initiative, net front presence from Ross Colton. I think that is a little bit what the top 6 on the whole is missing, is some balance in how these lines are constructed. You've got Arturi Lehkonen, a good puck retriever and worker kind of on that top line. And that second line is needed Val Nichushkin to be what he has been tonight specifically.
He's such a powerful play driver if he's settled in and if he's in the lineup. It's part of the reason why he's so important. It's part of the reason why I said that earlier. Like, we all know that he's a very good player and that the record with him versus without him is glaring. But to me, the bigger part is like, he might, what was it? 53 points in 54 games last year. Like, you're talking about potentially a point per game player, if not better than that, when at 100%, when in the lineup. To your point, 6 goals. That was his 9th point in just 11 games. There's still a little bit of ways to go here in this one. He's so important for them, and he can be a centerpiece on a line. before he got back, there was so much talk about splitting up McKinnon and Rantanen so you can redistribute some of that offense a little bit. Val Nichushkin being in the lineup, being able to play next to a guy like Casey Middlestat, and to your point, Ross Colton, a guy who's not afraid to go to the front of the net, it makes it so that you don't have to split up Nathan McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen. You can keep two players together who play well together. Maybe you want to see a little bit more from than what we got out of them in the first period. But still, a line like this with Val Nichushkin, with Casey Middlestat, just relieves so much of that pressure off that top group.
I think, too, that was what was creeping into some of Nathan McKinnon's game, some of the pressure of carrying the weight of the forward group on his shoulders kind of single-handedly. To see the second line get going is huge. For Casey Middlestat, you mentioned it, secondary assist is what I'm trying to say. His first point, though, in 8 games. He's been kept off the score sheet now for some time and just has had a rough go of things. With the line also playing well, you do hope this is something that can jumpstart his confidence and allow him to also step up as a contributor alongside Nichushkin and Colton.
The other guys that you have coming back into the lineup, you're waiting on Miles Wood, things like that. Like this is going to kind of be the group here. Obviously, Jonathan Drouin coming back will help, but I'm just a little wary of Drouin right now, health-wise, just because of the two injuries that we've seen take him out of this season, how uncertain it's been. So just kind of saying this is the group right now, it really does, like you said, just ups the importance of that second line being impactful. And I made particular note to pay attention to how that line was playing, what that line was doing. And I thought they were good. They get the goal. I want to see them continue to build and just be with Ross Colton and Val Nichushkin. That should be a tough line to play against. And that should free up Casey Middlestat to get to the front of the net. I actually think this is a great mix for Middlestat to try to break out of what he's doing right now because of like what we saw earlier. Make the right play, move the puck to the right area, and you're playing with good enough wingers here that you're gonna pick up your points if you're just doing the right things.
I think the return on Ross Colton, too, and the balance that it's added can be felt immediately when you look at the rest of the lineup. You look at that third line made up of Parker Kelly, Kivy Ronta, and Logan O'Connor. When we've seen Casey Middlestat have an off night, it's been Ivan sometimes getting moved up to that second line, and it completely changes the complexion of that bottom six. But that third line tonight kind of stays intact, at least through the first period, and they get some puck touches and emerge as one of the best defensive lines coming out of it. Overall, the possession game for Colorado supported by this too. I think Ross Colton makes the top six better, makes Casey Middlestat better, and allows for the bottom of that lineup to just stay a little bit more complete, a little bit more intact, and develop a little bit of a rhythm.
A little bit more consistent, not so much turning over of your line mates here. All right, we're getting ready to start the second period here, so we're going to wind things down. Do want to remind you guys about our great friends over at Trusted American Mortgage. Trusted American Sally-based mortgage consultants want to help you get into a better interest rate and lower your monthly payments. Go to trustedamerican.com or scan the QR code on the screen to see how much money they can save you today. Megan, any final thoughts, anything that you're wanting to see in particular? Get better, stop doing, start doing, anything like that as the Avs head into the middle frame here?
I do still want to see the top line get rewarded. I don't think this is Nathan McKinnon out of his funk just yet, and I think they're doing a lot of the right things, and they're on the doorstep of being rewarded for it. So I'd like to see that translate to this game.
I'm with you. As much as again, I would just mention you want to see that second line continue to roll. This may be a good second line game. Ease some of those minutes off of the top unit, especially on the first night of a back-to-back. But yeah, you want, as much as you like your depth, I'm with you, Megan. You want to see your top guys going and feeling good, especially when they haven't maybe been as dominant from a production standpoint recently. I'm with you. That's going to do it here for the first intermission report. Meghan Angley and I will be back second intermission and post game, and then we'll be back in the studio tomorrow to bring you guys the whole night, whole thing, intermission reports, post games, all that live from the Guerilla Sports Studios, powered by Trusted American Mortgage. She is Meghan Angley. I'm Jesse Montano. That's going to do it for us for right now. We will see you right back here during the second intermission. Avs Wings. Thanks so much, guys.